Hello and welcome back to the Voloshen Law Firm for yet another episode of Power Partners, our video series discussing how immigration law and other areas of law interact. Today we have with us Ted Kaplun, my good friend and colleague, to talk to us about personal injury overall, but this specific episode will be dedicated to medical malpractice. I'd like to start off by asking Ted to tell us a little bit about what a med malpractice claim is. When is it appropriate to bring a med malpractice claim, and how does it work? What is the litigation or overall process of how a med mal claim works from start to finish?
Thanks for having me, Igor. Medical malpractice is a huge area of law that we oftentimes get claims presented to us, and it's a very difficult area of law. We successfully present a majority of the claims that we take. We are very selective, and most firms in this realm are selective. The process of a medical malpractice claim, the first starts off with some medical negligence on the part of a doctor or hospital, nurse, that kind of situation where they breach their duty of care to a client, to a patient. And from there, what they did was we look at it as in terms of reasonableness, in terms of the standard of care, if it was breached, which are all looked at. That's step one. So we look at, was there a misdiagnosis? Was there a late diagnosis? Would a different diagnosis earlier have mattered in this realm, in this context? And oftentimes we see the worst injuries in that setting, including, even wrongful death that comes up from a medical claim that wasn't properly looked at by a doctor or otherwise or hospital. Those are some of the most important claims that we handle, and some of the most tragic, honestly. With regard to immigration in the realm of medical malpractice, oftentimes clients who are immigration, who are seeking status or who are illegal here or otherwise, they're oftentimes scared to bring forth a claim of medical negligence because they're afraid of the consequences in the immigration setting. And you could speak to that, but one doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the other. If you're a victim of medical negligence, you should certainly speak to a medical malpractice lawyer and figure out whether or not you have a claim. Oftentimes those claims hinge on the damages portion of it that we talked about, whether or not there's permanency of damage. Could it be fixed? Could it not be fixed? What are your injuries from the medical negligence? Are they permanent in nature? Or, and obviously wrongful death is a permanent injury. So, and then we deal with families of people who are possibly seeking status or otherwise. And they're oftentimes scared because of the nature of, they're dealing with something unknown. They're waiting on, trying to get citizenship in this country, and then also dealing with some sort of tragedy or injury or trauma that they've suffered through the fault of a doctor. We all want to trust our doctors, and most times they do great work, and we're not here to, try and hurt any doctor who does a great job for their patients. But there are times when mistakes are made, and those people, whether it be a hospital, nurse, doctor, or otherwise, should be held responsible for those mistakes.
And Ted, how does medical malpractice work in terms of costs? Does it ever cost anything to the victim, to the potential plaintiff? Do any amount of monies have to be paid up front? Could you talk briefly about that a little bit?
Sure. So that's also, people don't know the process necessarily. We'll have that concern, and that's a great concern to have. I'd certainly have that concern if I didn't know the process. But claims that we pursue for medical malpractice, we look at the validity of the claim, we evaluate. If we agree to pursue the claim, those costs are inherent risks that our firm takes on. It's part of the costs should we make a recovery. So the client incurs no costs. And medical negligence claims or medical malpractice claims are certainly costly to our firm because you need to have a doctor who will sign a certificate of merit, who will say that the care was below the standard of care in that area. Oftentimes these are from out of state. Those doctors will eventually possibly have to testify on our behalf, and we have to pay them, and we have to do all the due diligence and fact finding with regard to a medical negligence claim. Those costs are borne by the law firm, and they're paid out after a contingency fee, which so there's no cost up front to the client, no cost during the case to a client. If we believe that the claim is righteous and we want to pursue it, we sign the paperwork and we pursue it. We put our money where our mouth is in terms of pursuing the claim and hopefully getting a positive resolution for the victims.
Great. Thank you, Ted, for your valuable information and your advice. As always, you can find us at the Voloshen Law Firm by calling us at 215-437-7854 or visiting us on our website, voloshenlaw.com, or visiting one of our many social media platforms. Ted, why don't you let us, our viewers, know how they can find you and your firm?
Sure, thanks, Igor. They can reach out to us via telephone 24/7. We're available. We have English, Spanish, and Russian language speakers, and the phone number is 215-939-4895, or they can contact us via our website, which is www.kaplunmarks.com, or they can always call their immigration lawyer and have them contact us as well.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time on Power Partners, have a good day.